Hey, it's Kirkee B, Curt Bisquera, Kirkee B on DC. And I have the one and only Godfather, the one and only Mr. Gerald Heyward. Gerald, how are you, bro? I miss you, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Life is good, even though it's weird, but it's good.
Truly, man.
Life is good to see you, man.
I know, it's been a minute, right? The last time we saw each other in the physical was during the shoot of Kick Snare Hat out at DW.
Yeah. That was some good times, man.
Good times, man. That
was good times. No masks, no, that was good times, bro. That was good times. One thing I do remember about that day, it was we did a lot of talking on drums, man. We did a lot of the conversations was really good on drums. I remember you coming in with your Chrysler 300. And
got it.
Making sure we enter the building in nice, classy fashion. But at the same time, that was a very good time for me, with my peers, and even my friend Teddy Campbell was sitting there watching the whole, thing. Us videotape that and record it. And, Aaron Spears and, Cora and Nissan and you, it was just a good time, man.
Good
to be able to be with my peers and hug and talk and just, play drums,
Truly. And, because of the state of the condition we've been in this past, next month's going to be a year.
Yeah.
What have you been doing this whole time since?
Well, I had to transform my space that is usually for shedding. I share with my nephews. We have about 4 drum sets set up at one time. Mm-hmm. And, we learn, we collect information and play once a week together. And now that we can't do that, I transform my space into studio. I have 2 sets up now because I'm doing some songs and I need some different tones and stuff like that. But I'm able to record. I'm able to, send out music or, just record music and do a couple of things here and there. So, I'm blessed to do that. I was blessed to hook the room up and make it into like a studio type of situation,
Yeah. Everyone out there that's watching this right now wants to know what you're playing, man. What you got? Can you show us? Do you have the ability to show us your studio and what you're playing?
Yeah, well, I got my 25th anniversary drums.
Oh, okay, we got to see that.
DW, let me turn the camera around.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
So this is my 25th anniversary, and it is pure oak, flat black.
Wow.
With a shiny black stripe. And then we have the DW in Roman numerals. I don't know if you can see it. I mean, the 25 Roman numerals. And it's pretty cool. So some of that sets up, some of that set up. This is another part of that kit.
This is my DW showroom East Coast.
This is my cherry kit. It's just all cherry, just red and black. My star kit is maple, and same old. This is the kit that I used for Destiny's Child tour back a couple of years ago, and that's a maple kit. I got the PDP anniversary kit.
Yes, sir.
Also, this is my maple mahogany 20th anniversary kit. So this is a kit when I celebrated 20 years with DW. And that's just a quilted maple. On the other side of the room, so you see, like I was saying, I'm doing some recording, but I'm doing like, Mitch Max. So it's not like I'm looking for sounds and not opposed to looking for just, aesthetics, like what it looked like.
Right. No, you got to go for sounds first.
Exactly. So, I have the acrylics, half acrylic. I got a maple up there. I got the oak bass drum. And I don't know if you remember, but from the kick snare hat video, I used this snare drum, and it was like a prototype of something that I was gonna do with DW, and it is a 7x13 edge.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
So I've been messing with it. I just pulled it out the closet, and it sounds really great. And just a host of snare drums over here. I was just telling Don I was blessed with these Earthwork mics.
Oh, yeah. Those are really nice for overheads, right?
Yeah. For the whole kit, I got, Earthworks. I'm using Earthworks on, let me see, right here, Earthworks on toms and everything. And they sound really great, very aggressive mics, so I have to learn how to EQ them. I have my setup here. As far as where I'm recording into, I'm using the Zoom mixer and, Logic, that sort of thing. So, that's basically what I got set up and what I'm doing. And I have a couple of GoPros and a Zoom camera around the room. Nice. So different angles when I want to video as well. Right. But, it's a process, Kirk.
Yeah, man. Well, we just witnessed a Drum Channel exclusive right there. Ooh-wee.
Yeah. So it's a process. It's, at the same time, it's been 25 years. So I've collected a lot of drums, but I used every last drum that I own has a purpose. It has a purpose. It's nothing in this room that has gone untouched or it just has a purpose. Like they all have a situation and a purpose. So, I've been blessed, and like I said, this journey with DW has been awesome. And with all my other companies too, Zildjian, Big Fur, Remo.
Beautiful.
So I can't complain, man.
Yeah, you're truly blessed, man, and you've been such a pillar for all of us. That is the reason why you have the name The Godfather. Because before I even go on, I got to read just the tip of the ice cream cone of the people you've played with, just a little bit, just a taste. I'm going to read some, but you could add some. Blackstreet, Janet Jackson, Chris Brown, Missy Elliott, P. Diddy, Mary J. Blige, Coolio, Destiny's Child, Beyonce, Michael Jackson, Brandy, Chris Brown, Beyonce. Add to that because it could go on and on and on as far as I'm concerned.
I played with Shaka Khan. I played with Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
I got a chance to play with Sting. I got a chance to play with Elton John.
That's right.
I've also done, the Michael Jackson stuff was really close to my heart because, I got to play on his last record that he recorded. So that was a blessing. Rob Thomas. Nobody knows about Rob Thomas. Rob Thomas, the lead singer of 20. I played on his first solo album. I played the whole album, the whole record. And that was, I always say that situation, I was out of my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Because my comfort zone is hip hop, gospel, R&B, and to seep over into the rock thing. And it's like, I don't know if it's soft rock or I don't know, control. I don't know what it's really called, but he came the quick story about that is he came to see me. Oh, okay. I was on tour with Mary J. Blige. I was playing at Radio City, but we had been out 6 months prior to me playing at Radio City, right? So we get to Radio City. The production manager was the production manager for Matchbox 20 and the Google Dolls. He told Rob Thomas, he was like, man, you got to come to the show to see this drummer. So Rob was like, all right, I'm going to come to the show, Radio City. So Rob comes to the show. So, but the production manager never tells me that Rob is coming to see me play or whatever, right? So Rob watches the show. He loves it. But I, in turn, get up quickly and leave because I want to come home to see my wife, who I haven't seen in 6 months.
Right.
So I left directly after the show.
Oh.
So I never got the chance to meet Rob, right? So fast forward, I go on tour with Beyonce, Missy Elliott, Alicia Keys. We go on this tour. We're on this tour. We get a break. And, everybody goes home. So some people that work for Alicia Keys, they got called to do some gigs while we were off. They went to the gig. When they got to the gig, they getting ready for the gig or whatever. There's a lady that comes in that hired them for the gig. So the lady goes, hey, does anybody know Gerald Heyward? And one of the background singers said, yeah, that's my boy. We actually on tour together. Mm-hmm. We play ball and stuff and everything on tour. So we was cool. So she was like, do you have a number for him? And he said, yeah. I got a number. So he gave her the number. She called me. She said, I'm such and such, and I'm calling for Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. Nice. And I've been looking for you for 1 year.
Wow. Dig that.
And so, fast forward, he wanted me to play one song on his record. So cool. They hook everything up. I go to New York, the Hit Factory. I show up there. Then Rob shows up, and he was like, man, I was looking for you. I think you awesome. I want you to do this one song. So cool. So I go, let me hear the song. So he put the song on. I go inside the booth. I said, yeah, let me mess with it for a second. Figure it out. So I figured it out, came out the booth. I came back into the control room. Hey, we got it. I was like, no. Like, I was just learning the song. He's like, nah, we keeping that. We got it. And I need you to do 12 more songs. And I need you to be in the studio for 2.5 months. Wow. So that I got on that particular gig.
Ka-ching.
Yeah. So that was a blessing in itself. So, I mean, like God has been really, really good to me. And like I said, my journey just with DW and just with being a professional, in the whole, it's just been great. It's just been great.
When you reach such successes as you have, you're going to get calls from people that you expect to get calls from and people that you don't expect.
Yeah.
And always be prepared, as you are, obviously. And you just walk into the situation and you play it down, man. And even though you're trying to cop the vibe of what Rob wanted or what you felt he may want, and you're just trying to learn the song because you're who you are, and the groove, the feel, all of that. It was already the menu he wanted to order from. And so let's go back, man, because we were talking about the listening and the viewing. Yeah. Back in the beta tapes, and now we have YouTube. Let's expound upon all of that.
Well, I was just one, like I said, I learned from listening. And, a lot of times I tell the younger guys, you may have to put down the YouTube for a second and just listen. Sometimes it's cool to have music playing around the house when you're cleaning up or anything like that. So you learn textures that way. You learn textures, and just basically being a part of, like, being a part of history as far as, like I said, going from hearing to seeing, coming from, records all the way into YouTube, to, Drum Channel, being able to learn from, the view, you know what I mean? The view. A lot of times, it's frowned upon in some ways only because, people just mimic what they see. You know what I mean? And at the same time, you have to learn the skill set, the technique of what's put into what you're seeing, if that makes sense to you. Like, like it's just like you have to break it down in order for, you have to see you have to break it down in order for you to be able to manipulate that technique that you're learning to the fullest of its ability. You know what I mean? In order for you to know how to flip it or how to use it as much as you want or how to just manipulate it, you have to sit and you have to listen. You have to listen. You may have to even chart some things out. It's two lefts and a right. It's just, anything to that magnitude, because it's the same thing like, a basketball player shooting a jump shot. It's all about following through, catch and shoot, one motion. It all makes sense, and it all, it actually binds together. So
wasn't it the great Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant, that he would close his eyes before he released the ball?
Yeah. Yeah. And
sometimes I think of drumming like that, and I know we all do it as drummers. We close our eyes and we know where the toms are, we know where the cymbals are. And so it gets into a deeper groove, a deeper pocket. And I think that's where we achieve musicality.
Yes.
The other musicians.
Yes.
At that point, we're not drummers. We become musicians along with the keyboard players, the bass player, the guitar player.
You're absolutely right. And I'm just, I'm one to push, the new generation towards, the drum channel and towards seeing stuff, but also you got to pull your ears out and you got to really listen and, break down stuff with your ear gates, and not just your eye gates or your eyes,
Right.
So I just, I stand by that. I stand by, that process, and I stand by, studying and, drum channel, like, go and, just punch in stuff and see what happens, because a lot of times there's a lot of history on the drum channel, but you don't know it's there because, your first thing is YouTube, your first thing is, is YouTube. So, with the drum channel being and having as much education and much background and information that it has, I admonish, I push the shorties to go and go to the drum channel and be a part of the drum channel, and see what the drum channel can do for your studying and your ability to learn and just listen to interviews and things like that, because there's a lot of key components in that information that comes across that portion of the World Wide Web.
Truly. I was peeping some videos, man, because it's been a minute, and I was like, I know why they call you the Godfather. It's like, because you came from a place of groove, you came from the church, you came from playing behind singers, you came from listening to the organist, the bass player, the guitar player, the choir, and there's a certain position that you have to take on as the drummer doing that.
Right.
Maybe you could get into a little bit of that and tell us how that's done as a church drummer.
Well, so being brought up in the church, it was a thing where I ain't gonna say I was pushed to play the drums, but I just got on the drums one day, and somebody said to me after I finished playing, it was like, "Yo, man, you are dope. You should play the drums." And it's weird because I was the conga player.
Oh, wow.
I was playing the congas. I was always on the congas, and the drummer just stopped coming to church, and I got on the drums, and then I've been playing drums ever since. Right.
And how old were you when this was happening?
I was about maybe 10 or 11.
Wow.
You know, I'm always considered a late bloomer because, you know, you got all of the other guys that's like, oh, I started when I was 2, 3. You know, I was a conga player, literally interested in the congos. That was it. Right. Where my church was, Myrtle Avenue, like Adelphi Street, was surrounded by a lot of Latinos and, you know, Dominicans and everything. And they used to come out on the block and play the congas, like just jamming on the street, like on they, you know, in front of their house. So that was my introduction to the congas.
Wow.
So playing that in church, that was that, right? Mm-hmm. Then, like I said, I got on the drums and it was like, yo, you need to play the drums. And then I've been playing the drums ever since, right?
That's incredible.
So it just takes me, it's funny because the church that I went to, Max Roach got baptized in that church.
Wow. And you want to give a shout out to the church?
Yeah. It was Institutional Church of God in Christ. Is where I grew up. And me and my uncle and everyone, like that. It was a staple in Brooklyn, New York. The choir was famous, you know, all of that type of stuff. So just being, you know, brought up in the church, I had no reading ability or, you know, I didn't know certain things. You know, I got opened up to Drums Collective at some point.
Okay. So it's all by ear.
Everything is by ear. And, you know, one thing I want to say is, you know, the time has changed. So we have gone from listening to seeing. And when I say that, I say it in this regard. You know, I used to put records on of a very famous drummer named Joel Smith and, you know, Jeff Davis and all of these other gospel icons, you know, Dana Davis and all of these people that played on records when I was younger, right? And I used to have to listen to that record and keep putting the needle back to try to figure out what was happening. You know, I'm listening to, you know, Steve Gadd and Vinny and Weckel, and I'm literally taking the needle and I'm putting it back and I'm putting it back and I'm trying to figure out, you know, is Steve hitting a 10-inch tom on this? I can't figure this out. Why does his drum sound like that? Like, you know, all of these things are happening, but they're happening with my ears. You know what I mean? And then the process moved on. We went from records to listening, right? Then we went from that to cassette tapes, right? Then we went from cassette tapes to, I want to say, CDs, right?
Right.
And we still in the air. CDs. Then we went from CDs to Betamax tapes showed up, right?
Yeah.
Betamax showed up. Then we went so now we getting into the seeing. We go to Betamax, then we go to VHS, then we go to Laserdisc, we go to DVD, Laserdisc. So this is all seeing. And we bringing it way up to here almost. We get to MySpace. And MySpace is a seeing. So we went from hearing to seeing. We get to MySpace. Right. Then once we go to MySpace, we go to YouTube. And we go so on and so forth until this day right now. So everything, you know, I feel that your ear progresses better back then. Like, you know, as a musician, your ear progresses because you wasn't seeing it. You know, now the younger guys could just punch it in and they can see what Steve was doing. They could see what Weckel was doing. They could see what Vinny was doing and mimic it.
So, you know, be honest, man, how many times and how many videos did you have to buy because you wore out all those DCI videos? I know you worn them out.
I know that's right. It's funny because I remember going to, which was, I guess, is considered my first master at Drummers Collective.
Yeah.
And I got to speak to him and his wife and his kids that were very little at that time. I remember paying what may have been $70 for that class.
Wow.
And that was the only time that I can see him in person. You know what I mean? Like, that was the only time. But everything else was a record, man. Everything was a record. Even it's funny because maybe about a week or two ago, I found a bag of videotapes. And I found the stuff with you playing the Motown Live when that first started, and using the house band and all that stuff. So like, I am one to do history on drumming, period. Like, I have to figure out where something started from. And, with me starting in church and, like I said, being pushed to play the drums, I didn't really know what I was doing, bro. I just was playing from the heart. I was playing from the heart.
I think that's why we all start drumming.
And
so much.
Yeah. And it's like, I was playing from the heart. I didn't know really a lot of rudimental skills. I didn't know the left rights and the right lefts and and the click track. And I didn't know none of that stuff. All I knew was when I sat on the drums, somebody said I sounded good. And it was weird because as a conga player, my feet wasn't supposed to work. Getting on the drums, your hands will work because you play congas, but your feet, you gotta bring those up to par. So it was funny that it was a natural ability for me to be able to play, the feet technique, the foot techniques, and all of that stuff along with the top.
Right.
So that was a blessing. And, I just all feel like, it was God sent that I'm here with you today. It was God sent that I even connected with DW and all of these companies and played for all of these artists and, the Michael Jacksons and Beyoncé's and all of those people. It was a blessing to be able to do that. But I also feel that God just put it on me because I never had no schooling to do it.
Right. Right. Well, obviously, you have the ability and the gift. So it was just obvious that be called forward to do what you're supposed to do. Right.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. So we're going to take a little pause for the cause right now, and we'll be right back with Gerald Heyward.
Hey, Chad Smith here. I'm at the Drum Channel.
Hi, I'm Don Lombardi. About 40 years ago, I started DW Drums in my garage. During that whole period of time, I was lucky to get to know many of the greatest drummers and teachers of all time. Drum Channel is a unique opportunity for you to invest in your future, and we have made sure that it's worth it.
All these tours you've done with all these artists, there's got to be some sort of warm-up routine that you do before you go on stage. Maybe you can share a little bit of that with us and just tell us.
Well, because I'm not really rudimentally sound, I have never, sat and got on a practice pad before a show. I would do little stretches because I have carpal tunnel, but nothing that really, hypes me up or gets me get the juices flowing. Once I sit down, I'm dialed in, I'm locked in.
Right.
I've been doing this for so many years, man. I started in I want to say late 89, early 90. And I remember, signing with DW maybe in 93 or so. But I have been in a lot of situations, man, where it's yo, the light switch come on, I got to play. And I always been able to figure it out. I've been able to, put my energy from beat one to the last beat. One thing I always keep in my mind, and I always had in my mind, once the first beat starts, once the first beat goes, the last one is on its way. So I just try to get through it and try to stay focused. And, a lot of times as drummers and I could say me per se, if you feel like you messed up in a certain space, like in the beginning, it could kind of throw you off for the rest of the show. It could be like, you so thinking of that space where you messed up. You don't.
I used to trip on that so hard, man.
Yeah, I was like that. So, and I think that nowadays they call that just overthinking it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would maybe mess up in a space, and then it's like the rest of the show would be like boo boo. It'd be like, oh man, I don't even care because I messed up this one part. You know what I mean? But
how did you end up getting over it? What was your secret to getting over that one mistake that only Gerald Heyward knew? The bass player didn't know, the singer didn't know, but you knew. The audience didn't know.
I'm going to tell you how I got over it. I just had to I tell you, I use the concept of basketball players and sports players a lot because, I look at the Kobe Bryants, God rest his soul, and, Michael Jordans and LeBrons, and it's like they miss a shot, that's all right. They come back down, they're going to shoot again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Again.
Yes, right. So I use that concept. So regardless if they couldn't hit a side of a barn, they still keep shooting. But and then I use that concept as, I got 13 more songs to do. So I'm going, one of the 4 or 5 of these, I'm gonna kill these joints. Like I'm gonna be a hype. Like, so I had to get that in my mind as well as the whole, like, man, I had to remove the fact that you can mess up and then, you're human. Like I remember one time I was talking to Beyonce after a show, and there was there's a lick that I played that she does a dance to. And I just didn't play it this particular night. And
she gave you that look, huh?
She didn't because I wasn't looking at her, so I didn't know. But she told me later on, she said, why you don't play that lick on this whatever. And I was like, oh, I said, well, I just didn't want to play it. I just didn't want to play the lick.
He's like, right? I need that lick.
So exactly. So it came down to that. So now every night I'm concentrating on putting that particular lick in the same spot every night. But I never knew that she was paying attention to what, to what I was doing, because it wasn't a band. It wasn't a band reveal. It wasn't like, it wasn't something that the band did together. Right. It was just something that I felt that I wanted to play.
Right.
And she was like, I like that. You got to keep doing it. But she also had, in the same breath, she would say, we doing the shows every night. We on show number 30. Like, I don't expect it to be perfect. So, that helped me too. So it's like, anytime that you mess up, it's okay. Because, you had 7 good shows before this one. So I was talking to my good friend, Aaron Spears, and we was talking about, he was saying, yo, man, it's so amazing that you played for Michael Jackson and it's documented. But see,
truly,
there's none of us that are going to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Because he's gone,
right.
And I was like, I never really thought about certain things in the moment that it was happening. Like, right. Like I didn't realize, I'm in the studio with Rob Thomas. I didn't realize, like, it never hit me till way, way later on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, that Michael Jackson experience, I've met Michael Jackson so many times and then finally played, for Remember the Time, that particular song, I made the snare drum sounds for that song for Teddy Riley as he was sampling, doing drums.
Nice.
But it's just you don't really think about the moment when you're in the moment. It always came up to me days later or something like that. Right. And like I said, Aaron just was like, man, you played for Michael Jackson. None of us is going to be able to say that we did that. And he was like, I'm just sitting here thinking about that. Like, that is a big thing. That was a thing. That's a thing. Right. So I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. You know,
to say I played drums with the King of Pop. That's like,
right.
That's it. I mean, we could just stop right there. You know, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I thought, like I said, that was a blessing. And it was also good to, you know, talk to Ricky Lawson, you know, God rest his soul. You know, he was one that taught me about, you know, the companies and the different things, you know, how you are family, you know, you connect as family with the companies and, you know, make sure, you know, you can do as much for them as they can do for you. Make sure that that's all put out there and make sure that you do your job when it comes to that. And he was just awesome in having those type of conversations with me. You know, Ricky was a special dude. Ricky Lawson was just a very special person.
To all of us. Yeah, to all of us.
Yeah. So, you know, I was really blessed to be able to have those conversations with him. And even now I have conversations with Jonathan Moffett. You know, I talk to him about, you know, little stuff here and there. And, you know, same thing, you know, Lil John Roberts, you know, Brian Fraser Moore, like all of these people that have played for these people, you know, these big stars on stage. Right. And it's a blessing to be able to be for, you know, Lil Jon and Brian Fraser Moore and all of the cats that you know now and the Teddy Campbells and all of those people. You know, I'm their blueprint. I'm what they've seen to be able to be professional drummers.
Yeah, truly.
That is a blessing from God to be able to be, you know, presented in that conversation as that I help those guys become what they wanted to be.
Because we all look toward you to lead the way, and you did. And, you know, just by your biography alone, it proves itself, man. So any question we ask isn't a dumb question. We know that the question that comes from us will come back with super wisdom from you because you did it, you done it, you played it.
And I've been blessed. So hopefully, you know, the knowledge that I acquired, you know, I try to, you know, remember all of it as, you know, us being drummers. I always feel like each one of us have a hard drive. And it's a lot of times, you know, depending on what we're doing, we have to pull from our hard drive and figure out like, this song is just like this song. So I know if I play with this texture, it'll make sense, you know, for this song. So I always feel that we're all like computers. We have hard drives, you know, our minds, and we remember certain things pertaining to drums, pertaining to textures of playing drums, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm happy about that, you know, that I'm known for, you know, helping the community. I'm glad that I lift the community up. You know, I want everybody to succeed, from the youngest to the oldest, from the known to the unknown. I always want everyone to succeed and be great drummers, man. Be great drummers.
Heyward. That's why you're the Godfather.
Thanks, man.
So, man, speaking of making everyone happy and feel part of something, from what I understand, to make yourself happy and feel part of something, and someone told me, man, you got a nice biscuit collection. Is this true?
Yeah, I have always been a sneaker dude, and it has started to be the swagger of drummers.
Yeah, and who's leading the pack? It's you, right? You're Godfather, so you got to have the most.
I could just say I'm all right. I'm about like 6 and some change as far as my inventory is concerned.
Okay, wait a minute. So, wait. Is it possible that we could see this collection of biscuits?
Yeah, my closet's a little messy, but I can show you a couple of pieces. See if I can go up to the room.
You got any 85 Jordans? We'll join you upstairs, Gerald, after this break.
Hey, Chad Smith here. I'm at the Drum Channel.
Hi, I'm Don Lombardi. About 40 years ago, I started DW drums in my garage. During that whole period of time, I was lucky to get to know many of the greatest drummers and teachers of all time. Drum Channel is a unique opportunity for you to invest in your future, and we have made sure that it's worth it.
Whoa.
Okay, this
Nice.
is a couple of Jordans over here.
Oh,
This is
Jordans.
some Air Force Ones, I want to say, over here. This is a couple of things over here. And I don't know if you remember Bapes.
Man, I'm
Do
going to
you
be
remember
honest, man. I
Bapes?
never got into the kick collection.
So
you cats,
Bapes is something that Bapes is from Japan, and it's a brand that they made because they couldn't get Air Force Ones at a certain time. And this guy made up Bapes, and they look just like Air Force Ones. Let me open up.
So it's like fake Gucci?
Nah, it's not fake, but it's his own thing. So let's see. So,
Oh, wow. All right.
yeah, you know Pharrell?
Yes, sir.
Pharrell is connected to this guy, Bapes. Bathing Ape is what it's called. And they have clothing line. They have all this stuff. And I was a big fan, and I was buying a lot of Bapes. I was ODing on the Bapes. So
did
I
you ever have
those.
it work? Did you ever have it worked out in your contract where, okay, it's like, all right, here's what I make a week, but then every 14th show, you got to kick in a pair of Bapes?
No. So this is what I did have, though. I took all the per diem, and that's what I was buying sneakers with. Per diem, bro. Per diem. I never ate with per diem. I always brought sneakers with that money.
Of course, bro, because you can just eat at catering for free. I know the drill.
Man. So that's a life in itself. You know what I'm saying? That's a life in itself. But yeah, so I collect sneakers, and that is a thing for me. And it's always been a thing for me. And a lot of people like, Eric Moore. And
oh yeah, I know Eric's deep in it, man.
Yeah, a lot of other drummers.
Man,
other drummers do it,
Here at Drum Channel, we might have to just get all you drummers that have the collection and have a collection shootout. And we count who's got the most, and then whoever has the most wins.
So if I would have started collecting when I started buying sneakers, I would have like thousands of sneakers.
Right.
But I didn't know collecting was going to be a thing. So I used to give 150 pair away every year for free. Like I used to take them to, some of the places around here, some of the churches, and literally every year, 150 pair away. So if I would have kept those sneakers off, I wasn't doing that, I would be way in the thousands.
Wow.
Right now. But
where are you at now, give or take? How many?
I'm at like 640, 6. I have some stuff in the storage too. So, because everything can't fit in the closet with the clothes. So,
I love it, man.
I see you play piano.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Just by ear. Again, my mom, when she was 8.5 months pregnant with me, playing in her jazz trio, playing B3 organ.
Wow.
I forever, I hear Jimmy Smith or Groove Holmes or, DeFrancesco or any of those cats. It's like,
oh man,
thumb in the mouth and go straight to the B3.
And that's what my uncle plays B3.
Oh,
he's like a excellent B3 player.
Oh man. So did you ever get down with them and do organ trio with them?
So no. So, on the kick snare hat we did at my church. Right. Me and him played, and that was the church that I grew up in. at church, you know, it was just me and my uncle. Like we never had a bass player or a guitar player or nothing like that. It was just organ and drums.
So you had that training like me, where it's just listening to the organ player and what your uncle's doing and honing in on where you needed to fill in or where you needed to keep it where the groove needed to be. And, man.
My uncle used to be like, you know, on that whole, you know, you speeding up, you slowing down.
Oh yeah. I got that too. I got that
you
too.
know, and you know, those times though were very essential because, you know, I learned a lot. You know, I learned, you know, the mothers in the church would say, you know, baby, you was good this week, but you played too loud. So then, you know, I had 6 days to learn how to play with volume. So when I go to practice, I learned how to play with textures, you know, learning how to not just be playing hard all the time or loud all the time. So those things it was like school for me. You know what I mean? Playing in a church like that. It's like school.
And your best critics are the ones out in the congregation telling you too loud, too soft, too much,
That's
too little.
What it was. Too fast, too slow, all of that. So, but like I said, you know, nowadays, you know, we have the super duper drum channel. we have YouTube, and we have all of these outlets where we can acquire knowledge and acquire, you know, sighted and seen technical help, if that makes sense.
That makes
sighted
sense.
And seen technical help. And, you know, you can acquire it. You can acquire it from the drum channel, from, you know, any type of media outlet. But you also want to study all of the greats, man. When you hear their names, you want to listen to what they had to say. You know, the Bonhams and the Gads and the Weckels and Vinnies, and you want to always hear what they have to say. There's a lot of things that a lot of the drummers have played on that you don't know that is them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for instance, like, you know, Sanford and Son. This is a show I grew up on, you know, but who knew that was Steve Gadd playing drums on that?
Wow.
You didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, I talked to Steve Gadd and he didn't remember playing it, you know? So on the Maxwell House commercial, that Benny playing on the drums on that particular commercial. So like those are the things that you need to study and find out and learn. And, you know, being connected to Drum Channel, you just got that information there. Is there for you. So I just, you know, people just don't know, man. Right. Steve Gadd, he played on so much music, man. Yeah. He don't even.
And that's truly the essence of music, is going back into history and see that foundation and where it comes from and the style, the feel, everything. And it's not just the drummer a lot of the times, man. And a lot of it comes from the organ player, the guitar player, and the drummer just so happened to fall into the groove because of the guitar player. So there's so much history. And
Lee Ritenour. David Sanborn. Oh, yeah. I remember this guy, he played the flute. Man, I can't remember his name, but that was the first time I heard Dave Weckl. He did a solo on this guy's record. And I remember the record because it was the moon, but it was the guy's face. And I can't remember his name right now, but he, like, that was amazing. That was the coming out party for Dave Weckl for me. Like, I never heard Weckl. That was the first time I heard Weckl. And it was like, you know, Steve Gadd on Juiced, like on steroids. It was like you know, it was that. So, but it's cool, you know. It's good.
I just want to say it's just been an honor and pleasure, and I want to wrap it up with this one question, man. Because we've been in this pandemic, you know, and we're approaching time. What's in store for The Godfather? What do you got going on for the rest of 2021 and the future? Well, a
lot of people has been pushing me to make an album, man, and I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that. I have a lot of nephews and a lot of guys that that I consider, I'm their mentor, and I'm trying to help them be great. You know what I mean? And at the same token, like, I just want to still be in the conversation. I don't ever want my name and what I have done to fade from the conversation. But at the same token, I'm not a bragger. I don't boast. That's not me. So
I know that for a fact, because when I first met you, man, you were one of the most humble cats, and it was at a NAMM show long time ago.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone is following you through NAMM show.
Right.
And I was like, who's this cat? And then one of the cats, I forgot who it was, said, hey, Kirkee, do you know Gerald? And this is the Godfather. I'm like, yo, I've heard everything about you. And you were so like chill and so like just humble. I was like, yo, this dude is like, he's as deep. And I remember you walking away and everyone's like, you know who that is, right? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, he's so humble.
That's a blessing, man. But yeah. I want to be in the conversation always, and I want to help everybody and lift them up to the level that I'm on. You know what I mean? Or that, that the industry put me on, as I could say. But I always want to be a help to the younger generation. I always want to be a help to everyone that's trying to figure it out, because at some point I didn't have a lot of people to help me when I was in that stage of trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? I had to do a lot of, just crashing in the walls and just figuring it, trying to figure it out. And I think I learned how to be a professional musician while being a professional musician.
On the job training.
If that makes sense. Yes, it was definitely on a job training with no training. But it was just like, I'm going to do this, and I don't know what's going to happen after I do it. I'm going to play this because this is what I feel, but I don't know what the artist is going to say after I play it.
Right.
And I've always been in a situation where it's like, Gerald, basically what they're saying without saying it is that we agree with what you chose to play. We agree with how you chose to play this music, so that's a blessing. And that is just something that, I would, tell the younger guys, like, get in where you fit in, figure it out, but also be respectful to the artists that you're working with and their music. Always approach their music, not in a form of trying to, remake it or rehash it or whatever. But always approach it as I'm going to take this and I'm going to cherish it and I'm going to figure out how to make it even better. I'm going to upgrade it, or I'm going to, and that's just taking the people music that you're working with and just trying to be you in the music, but making it still feel as good as it felt when they made it. So, that's just one of my goals. And, I want to succeed, man. And, I'm trying to do this whole, recording on, YouTube and all of this stuff. I think that that's cool, but I'm also still trying to stay Gerald Heyward and remain what people like about me and what they come to me for. I want to always be able to give them access to what they come to me for. So, just having conversations with Mr. Don and, saying, I've been here for so long, but, I've watched everything change, everything go from, just like I was saying with the hearing and the seeing, I've watched DW go from just being a company to being a brand to being now a global phenomenon. You know what I mean? So all of these things.
It's important. It's important. That you made that happen. You're one of the many wonderful drummers of DW that made that happen, man.
Right. I thank God for that. I thank God for just being able to have the knowledge to be able to, it's always push, push, push. Because, when you go to DW, you go to certain companies, but DW, when you go there, they're always pushing the envelope. I got to go home and figure out, how am I going to play all of these woods coming from Siberia and wherever? Like, it's like,
Right.
What am I going to do to let people know that this is a special instrument and this is an instrument that they need to have, acquired. They need to acquire, they need to purchase, they need to invest in, you know what I mean? So there's so many products that I try to push in that same manner because I feel that, these people are geniuses that make this stuff up. This hardware, these drums, the cymbals, they are geniuses, and it's something that they do on a regular basis, just like we sit down and we play drums on a regular basis. We try to figure it out, but like I said, moving forward, whatever life throws, I got to try to either bob and weave or I got to accept it and, make sure it works for me. And I'm just here, man. I'm here. My sound is still here and I can adjust my sound and update or downgrade my sound to what it needs to be for me to keep pushing forward and keep being in the conversation of any other drummer or anybody that's trying to do this. So I'm blessed, man. I'm here, Kirk, and I'm trying to keep it pushing.
And there it is. We have reached the top of the mountain with the one and only Godfather, Gerald Heyward. Gerald, thank you so much for joining us here on Drum Channel. And you're always just, one of the greats and one of the ones that we always look to lead the way. Gerald, thank you once again.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
see you soon.
I'm saying goodbye, but I'm never leaving.
Stand by.